Hello my friends, how are you? Sean Ferrick here from Trek Culture, and we are being so spoiled for all of this stuff that's coming out for Strange New Worlds. We have 2 more trailers we're going to go through for you now. So without much further ado, here are 9 things that you missed from the MBENGA and Chapel Strange New Worlds trailers. Number 9. Classic tricorder tech. As you probably know by now, I am a sucker for some of those classic designs being used in modern day Star Trek, and the very first shot we get in the MBENGA trailer is that scanner that comes with the medical tricorder. I absolutely love bringing this classic version of tech into the modern age because I really like what Star Trek has done to modernize the 60s designs. I love how they've updated the uniforms. I absolutely love the job that's been done on the Enterprise itself. I've said this before, I will say it again. And I love how they've managed to take this classic idea from 1966, portrayed in 2022, still have it look retro and yet still have it look useful for the modern day. Number 8. There's nothing like a homemade remedy. We see as well near the beginning of this trailer that Dr. MBENGA is putting ground sea urchin on Spock's forehead. Spock is a little bit apprehensive about this. He's like, what is this? And he's like, it's ground sea urchin. Don't worry, it'll be fine. And there's sort of a look that passes between him and Chapel. It's really quite funny. But later on as well, we see MBENGA, who seems to be mixing his own medicines. This, I feel, is a really important thing to keep in mind. As a doctor, he's not merely an administrator of medicine. He also seems to be a creator of medicine as well. And that, to me, is bloody important. He says, I'm a physician. Now, straight away, you think this is a callback to all the times that there's been, I'm a doctor, not a... and the punchline has always been, I'm not something else, I'm a doctor. The punchline is I'm a physician. I can do so much. I can save lives. I can create cures. Now, we've seen all throughout Star Trek that the doctors regularly come up with cures for the seemingly incurable. Dr. Crusher, for example, you give her 5 minutes and she will cure everything that ever ailed you, and she'd do it with some warm milk and some nutmeg as well. And this is what I really like to see in this character, is that we see ingenuity in the face of the unknown, and I'm really here for it. Number 7. Updated MBENGA extended career. In the original series, Dr. MBENGA served under Dr. McCoy, but whenever Dr. McCoy was off the ship, he was the ranking medical officer. In Strange New Worlds, he is the chief medical officer of the flagship of the Federation. And, as this is before Kirk takes command, this means that he was chief medical officer before Leonard McCoy came on board the Enterprise. It's a nice way to give this character an awful lot more to do, as he only turned up in a couple of episodes of the original series. Now, having said that, in the original series it was established that he was the go-to guy for Vulcan physiology. We see him, treating Spock in this trailer. So that seems to be something that's carrying over from the original series. There's been a little bit of ambiguity in terms of the details behind this character. In this iteration of MBENGA, he's being played by Babs Olusanmokun, who is a Nigerian-American actor. Now, as it stands, we've no first name for the character yet. Going back to the original series, when the character was played by Booker Bradshaw, in the unproduced script that introduced the character, written by Darlene Hartman, he was Joseph MBENGA, who was of Ugandan descent. That was due to be as part of a spin-off show. His brother was going to be the captain of the medical ship Hope Ship. That never came to fruition, and it has been lost to the annals of time. In Apocrypha, there's been other versions of the name, Jeffrey MBENGA, Jabilo MBENGA, that version of MBENGA being of Kenyan descent as well. Really, there's an awful lot of history and different pieces that you can put together into this character for Strange New Worlds. It'll be very interesting to see what crosses over and what gets left behind. Number 6, leave your prejudice in your quarters. Now, one thing that MBENGA says in this trailer is that prejudice has stopped people from looking after each other for so many years. And of course, this is one of the main lessons behind Star Trek. It seems to be a callback to that moment in Balance of Terror in the original series when Kirk says to Styles, leave your bigotry in your quarters, there's no place for it on the bridge. And MBENGA seems to be this voice of calm and reason in this trailer. He speaks with a slow, deliberate delivery, who will probably be quite a calming presence whenever he's on screen. I mean, quite frankly, look at his smile. It just makes me happy. It just makes me so happy. Hopefully, he will be a voice of reason. Now, the fact that he has to say prejudice has kept people apart for so long makes me wonder is, what are we going to see in Strange New Worlds that is a showcase of prejudice that requires it being said? Number 5, may I present Sickbay. What a gorgeous updating of Sickbay. It looks like a very functional, yet clean and sterile version of Sickbay. In the original series, on a 60s budget, it did the job, and you had the little bicycle thing on the wall, which I still think is cool. Totally pointless, but it's cool. And of course you have the beds that flip up and flip back, all great. This, of course, is modernized for today's age, which I think is perfect as well, because you want to have a sickbay that looks like it's got state-of-the-art technology and not slightly older technology. Now, but what we also see in this scene is the sickbay is being used as a triage center as well as the main operational bay for medicine on the ship. We have number 1 coming in and collapsing on the floor. She seems to be going through an awful lot in these trailers. I'm looking forward to her trailer, and I really just want to see her having a good time. Something obviously is going to go on. Now, we've seen in the various trailers the ship being attacked by whoever it turns out that they're being attacked by. We know that MBENGA and Chapel are going to be put through their paces, but it looks like at least they're going to have the right tools to get the job done. Number 4, callbacks galore. Moving now to the Chapel trailer, we have Jess Bush, who's playing Christine Chapel in Strange New Worlds, and straight away she brings a confidence to this part. You see, she says that she's here to mess with La'an's genome. La'an says, does this work? And, Chapel goes, don't worry, almost always. That is a callback to the original series episode, The Deadly Years, when Chekhov is about to be inspected by Chapel, and he kind of goes, is this going to hurt? She goes, no, this never hurts, mostly. I like that. It's just the simplest little nod, and it just carries over from the original series as well. And let's not forget, of course, that glorious shot of Chapel ascending the Jeffries tube. Now, that Jeffries tube looks like it's been lifted and placed from Matt Jeffries' original design, 10 points for guessing where the name Jeffries tube comes from, and put into this new version of the Enterprise. What a beautiful, classic honoring of the old ship in the new face of it. So here for this. Number 3, strange new faces. Now, there's a shot in the trailer which shows some people who are clearly not in Federation uniform. We have, I'm going to presume, a father and his child in sickbay being examined by Chapel. We see that for at least some part of the series, we're going to play host to someone who's not trying to shoot at the crew of the Enterprise, which is nice, because in that same trailer, we also see people who very much are trying to shoot at the crew of the Enterprise. And it doesn't really go well for them, and I'll get to that now in a point in a moment. If the flagship of the Federation really is the Enterprise, then it is going to be your first foot forward when it comes to exploration. And we have, who seems to be a completely capable nurse in the form of Christine Chapel, ready to examine, to care, and to have a little bit of a quip here or there when needed. Number 2, time for a Spock of lunch. Not my best pun, not gonna lie, but you know what? I don't care. One of the longest standing plot points about Christine Chapel has been her unrequited love for Spock. We see this going all the way back to the original series, particularly in Amok time. Flash forward to the Strange New Worlds trailer, and we see Chapel and Spock sitting down for a date together. It's definitely informal because she is able to lean forward and smack him upside the head, which I'm here for. I love Spock, and I love Ethan Peck Spock, and I already know he probably deserved it. He is able to ask her, or says to her at least, I thought you might like to talk about your feelings, which is then followed immediately by the slap, to which he says, I feel I should have seen that coming. Is this a little teaser that Chapel and Spock are going to have, if not a romantic relationship, then at least a relationship that helps both of them express themselves a little bit more? One of the wonderful things about Leonard Nimoy's Spock was that stoicism, yet he allowed his feelings out You know, he wasn't unfeeling, it was just very controlled. We've seen Ethan Peck deliver blinders as Spock already in Star Trek Discovery. And although we have seen very little of Jess Bush so far as Chapel, I am already enjoying their interplay together. I am looking forward to seeing, first of all, what he can do for her as a character, what she can do for him as a character, and also just on their own as well, because of course you don't need one to have the other. I really did enjoy that scene. Number 1, Christine Chapel, nurse, badass. In 30 seconds of Chapel's trailer, we see her kicking the crap out of some people. Now, I've always thought it's always a funny play on when you have a medical practitioner who is the one basically engaging people in hand-to-hand combat. It's like, remember, these people have studied anatomy. They know how to take you down. And we see Chapel doing that. Jess Bush already shows that she is going to be a pure confident character who is going to be someone you can rely on in a pinch. I am looking forward to seeing more. I feel like we've just been teased with Chapel, so I cannot wait to see more. What did you like from these two trailers? Let me know in the comments below. Remember, you can get in touch with us over on Twitter at TrekCulture. You can get in touch with myself at Sean Ferrick on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You look after yourselves, you live long and prosper, you be kind to yourself, okay? You just take it easy, and remember, we're all in it together.